ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तन्न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Today we are entering the 7th chapter, which marks a difference in the subject matter of the Bhagavad Gita, where we see a shift from Tvam Pada Vichara to Tat Pada Vichara, a shift which is absolutely evident, very, very palpable and tangible shift we can see from Tat Pada, Tvam Pada to Tat Pada. Tvam Pada means from understanding understanding oneself as Chaitanya Swarupa. That is what is the phala of the Tvam Pada Vichara, understanding oneself as Chaitanya Swarupa. And then the phala of Tat Pada Vichara is understanding Bhagavan also ultimately as this Chaitanya Swarupa alone. And so therefore the 7th chapter is the gateway to the understanding the nature of Ishvara, who has just been up till now introduced as a concept and as the recipient of all our kartrutvam and the recipient of all the bhoktrutvam also. Everything that one enjoys also is ultimately Bhagavan is the one that enjoys, Bhagavan is the one that experiences, Bhagavan is the one that gives karma phala and is the doer of all actions we have seen. Bhoktaram yajna tapasa sarvaloka maheshwaram. This we saw in the 6th chapter. Jnatva shantim adhigacchati, something like that. At least the essence of that meaning was there. And so now we enter into the 7th chapter, which is smaller than the 6th chapter, smaller than also the 5th, smaller. It is the smallest chapter so far. Actually, it has 30 verses, but it is very beautiful, very eloquent, beautiful, concise, a lot to unpack, and then it also has it has a beautiful order and a wonderful message about the nature of Ishvara. It starts with a nice bang and then unfolds very, very beautifully. So there are some general themes. So it's no use to talk about Ishvara other than to, if we are not going to talk about how it is connected, how this Ishvara is connected to the Jiva, and that also is going to be talked about. Very nice chapter. So before we get into the first verse, as is the practice always, I will give a what is that called? A little summary and overview so that you can mark these. You can write down the verses that roughly correspond to certain topics that are going to be discussed. And this is very helpful when you go back and look at your notes, or even as we enter the chapter, you can sort of see how it is going from one subject matter to another. So the first three verses, verses 1, 2, and 3, the topic of Ishvara and the glory of the topic of Ishvara are introduced. Basically, the one who worships Bhagavan, what will they get, etc., etc., and what is really this knowledge, and this knowledge of Bhagavan, why I should get, what are the reasons I should have this knowledge of Bhagavan, that also is discussed. And then and this knowledge is described as very subtle, very rare, in a bid to advertise it to the public. So Lord Krishna is bringing out a banner. What kind of a banner? Come one, come all to chapter 7. Chapter 7 is really chapter heaven. Come one, come all. Not the kind of the heaven that the Shastras talk about, but a heaven that is permanent, a heaven that is away from you. Not an impermanent heaven, but a permanent heaven, which is the nature of yourself, which is the nature of Bhagavan. So, come to this heaven, which is actually called chapter 7. And so it's like the Lord is advertising his wares. And so it's like Lord Krishna has suddenly become a sales rep and is talking of the glory of Ishvara. Who is Ishvara? Himself. So he is doing some self-promotion. Very interesting. He is doing self-promotion, as we will see in verses 1 to 3, as the teacher of the verse, as the teacher of Ishvara, and as Ishvara himself, both. So both the instrument of the knowledge, which is the teacher, is himself, and the subject matter of knowledge is also himself, and who is the reader and the student listening to this knowledge? Also himself. Okay. So in verses 1 to 3 and in the whole chapter, we can, in the whole chapter heaven, chapter 7, we can easily say that Bhagavan is full of himself in the nicest way possible. Okay, everywhere, himself, himself, himself. And so that is a short topic, verses 1 to 3, glory of the Jnanam, and what the introduction to what this topic is all about in concise way, which is like and the concise expression of what is going to be dealt with in Sanskritam is called Mahapratignya. Pratignya, discussion of topic matter, the subject matter. Mahapratignya, discussion of the whole chapter and what all is going to unfold. So he gives this in short, and then elaborates the nature of Bhagavan from the 4th to the 11th verse. And what is the nature of Bhagavan? Very interesting. The nature of Bhagavan, it is said in these verses, it is elaborated as having a twofold nature. Bhagavan has a twofold nature, and this has a technical term. One is called apara, one component or one aspect of this nature is called apara prakriti, and the other one is called para prakriti. One is the nature which is called not ultimate, relative, apara, and the other one is called para, absolute. Just like we had in the Mundakopanishad, what? In the so dve vidye veditavye iti hasma, what? Parachaiva aparacha. So then, so this is the same thing here. So aparavidya is the vidya or the knowledge of Bhagavan's apara prakriti, and paravidya is the knowledge of Bhagavan's para prakriti. How nicely the two just dovetail over there so beautifully. It's just very, very eloquent and very, very nice. And so this is something so wonderful when we see the texts talking to one another, and when we are able to appreciate that. It is called samanvaya. Samanvaya means looking at the patterns of convergence, harmonious convergence, which exists in the which naturally exists in the Shastra, because the Shastra is devoid of internal contradictions, and the Shastra is also devoid of external contradictions. So what is this para and apara prakriti? Apara prakriti is the Jagat. Maya Shakti, the manifest universe with all its things, with all the forces and the laws of the universe, and then how they unfold, and what is this apara prakriti, the subtle elements, the samashti, the samashti in the form of the cosmic intelligence, etc. That is called para prakriti. And then, so that is that means what? The knowledge behind the manifestation or the projection of the universe. This thing, that the projection of the universe, and the universe is all what? Ishvara. And we have seen this. Everything is Ishvara. Whatever I see, Ishvara. Whatever I want to be, Ishvara. Wherever I go, Ishvara. Whatever I cannot avoid, definitely Ishvara. What I want, Ishvara. What I do not want, double Ishvara. Everything, everywhere is Ishvara, 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 Ishvara. We have seen this. And this is appreciating Ishvara in the form of Maya Shakti. All knowledge with reference to the Jagat and the projective power, the power to project, this is apara prakriti. And then what is para prakriti? The para prakriti is that which doesn't change. Apara prakriti keeps changing. The Jagat has seasons. The Jagat has things in motion all the time. In fact, everything that is moving is already the Jagat. That which is moving is Jagat. Jayate gacchati iti Jagat. So with reference to the Jagat, the Prakriti, which is responsible for bringing about all these names and forms, is called Apara Prakriti, Maya Shakti, and the same Ishvara with reference to one's own, with reference to oneself, with reference to the unchanging nature, is what? Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, same as Satchidananda. In other words, Satchidananda. That is unchanging, that is para prakriti of the Lord. Don't worry about it. I'm just giving a little summary. We'll see all this in detail. So from the fourth to the 11th verse, this the so-called relative and the absolute, the Ishvara from the standpoint of the relative universe, and Ishvara from the standpoint of the absolute understanding of oneself as Chaitanya Swarupa, that is discussed. And then what happens? Then then there is then this along with this Prakriti, then the whole Jagat revolves, and it is just Bhagavan who is manifest as the sustainer and the one that has brought the Jagat into being and the resolver of the universe. But then 13th and 14th verses talk about Maya Shakti from two standpoints. From the standpoint of Ishvara, who is enjoying Maya Shakti as all knowledge, and from the standpoint of the poor Jiva, who is dipping, who is drowning in the Ajnanam aspect of the Maya Shakti. Maya is Ajnanam. So that basically drowning in ajnanam, and so that is the so how people get deluded, and why? Because they feel caught in the gunas of Maya, sattva, rajas and tamas. They feel trapped as though they are in a painting in a painting in a canvas, or in a knitted sweater. There is a pattern. Let's say somebody has knitted a sweater and there is a pattern, there is a tapestry, there is a pattern of what is that, a house, and then a path, and little stick figures walking on the path, the mother and the father catching hold of a small stick figure, this child, and the child has a little small stick bag, and then they are going to leave the child at the school, and little ways at the end of the path is the school, and then you see the little school building with some few other little stick figure children, and all of them are there. And then this little stick figure child is crying, I don't want to go to school. First day of school, first day of school, I don't want to go at all. The one is crying, and so like this, there is a pattern. Where is this pattern? In the sweater. And in the sweater, the pattern is there. And then who is the one that is knitting? The one who is knitting is a very clever lady, and she knows exactly how to put in other colors and then incorporate other colors, because we need a few colors to make sense of the pattern. Otherwise, if it's a single color, what pattern can you have? You can't have much of a pattern. So she is very good, and she pulls in the thread, and then what is that? She knits the school building, and then she designs the path leading to the school, and then some trees and bushes and flowers on either side, sun shining, and then the sky, the blue sky, all this she has knit. And she has knit. And then this designer, and it's a custom made sweater made according to one's own prarabdha, and then you take it very seriously. The child is crying its head off, I don't want to go to school, I don't want to go to school, and the parents are saying, no, you have to go to school. See, the other children are also going. You have to go. We'll be back in 4 hours to pick you up. You can be with us. No, I don't want to go. Everything is so serious. And seeing the child cry like that, the mother is also affected. Mother also starts to cry. Until what? Until some child outside of the scheme of things, another person outside of the scheme of things, outside of this tapestry comes, and then it's a child's play starts to unravel. Woo! Only string, yellow string, blue string, white string, pink string, maroon string, just strings. And it's such a nice thing to unravel a sweater. Very nice. It feels so good. I have done it as a child. That's why I'm thinking of it. I don't remember this, but apparently, when I was small, I went to the neighbor's house, and then that lady had made something very nice, and then I just went and just loved the sensation of this unraveling. It just makes a nice little, feeling, and then just covered in string. That's all. So then what do you see? There is no Jagat. There is no school. There is no child, and neither is it crying. There is no mother, there is no father, there is no school building, there is no house, there is no path. And what is there then? There is no sky, there is no there are no birds, there is no sun that is shining. And so what is there then? Only string. And what is that string? Satchidananda Atma, three colors. That's what Sat Chit Ananda. That's what it is. And so this, when this is not known, one comes under the spell of Maya Shakti. And so therefore what? And this Maya Shakti cannot be conquered other than through Ishvara Anugraha and taking the help of Guru, Ishvara, etc. That is the, in short, verses number 13 and 14. Then 15 and 16, the Lord divides the entire group of human beings into five. What are these five groups? The five groups are the what is that? The five groups are according to their ability or ability, or according to their inability or ability. So to connect to Ishvara, because it was told in the last verse that my Maya is very difficult to cross without my help and without my blessing. So who are these people who will take my blessings? There are five kinds of people mentioned. So one are mudhaha. Mudhaha means what? They don't know. They don't know who I am. They are deluded. They are they are floundering in samsara. Of course, they are complaining loudly. While they are floundering, they are nicely complaining. They are complaining loudly, and then they are not, they are not with me, and then they don't know who I am, and neither are they bothered to find out. Then the four kinds of bhaktas are talked about in verse number 16, a very famous verse. And what is that? One is the distressful bhakta. A bhakta who is always thinking of Bhagavan. Always thinking of Bhagavan? No. Only always in distress, and therefore thinking of Bhagavan whenever the person is in distress. This is the first kind of bhakta called Artha. And then the other one is Artharthi. Artharthi means what? The one who makes a deal with the Lord, only wanting Arthakama pursuits. Artharthi. Then the one who is a little more discriminative and is a jignasu, a student of Vedanta, who is interested in knowing the nature of Bhagavan. That is the next one. And then finally, the Jnani, who is also considered a Bhakta, who is non-separate from the Lord. This is the subject matter of 15 and 16. Then in 17, 18 and 19 verses, the Jnani Bhakta is glorified, is highlighted. And who is this Jnani Bhakta who is non-separate from the Lord? The Jnani is Atma Eva. This is what the Lord says. So the Jnani Bhakta is glorified in these three verses, because the person has finished their quest, has finished the human quest of looking for that union. And so the wise person who has the vision of oneness is praised in the next three verses. And then how to gain this vision is talked about in the next verses that follow, namely 18 and 19. 18 and 19, how to gain these this vision of oneness and non-duality. Verses 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 are talking about all the devotees who, regardless of where they are in their in their station of life, how do they invoke the Lord for the sake of what all they want within samsara, and still the Lord, out of compassion, fulfills their desire for artha and kama, because that is where they are. But then the Lord says that is not the ultimate thing that then you can ask for. What is the thing that you ask for? That is revealed in verses 24, 25, and 26. Verses 24 to 26, the Lord reveals his nature as identical with the nature of the seeker, that oneness, and then and how how because of Maya Shakti one misses out this vision, and this alone is the subject matter from 20, what did I say, 24 to 26. Then going further, the different stages of devotion, gradually progressing from praying to Bhagavan when in distress, going to Bhagavan as a person who is asking for specific material things in life, and then finally going to Bhagavan as a jignasu, and then being with non-separate from Bhagavan as a jnani is the are the concluding verses. And then the up to 27, 28, 29, 27 and 28, and then the last two verses are the concluding verses. The Lord assures that the person who has gained this knowledge will does not lose sight of Bhagavan ever, and after death gains videha mukti. Free while alive has what is called jivan mukti, and after death gains what is called videha mukti. Very, very beautiful. So this in short is the summary of the 7th chapter. And then now we will look at verse number 1. Let me share this so you can also enjoy looking at it. It's right here. Okay, good. ॐ अथ सप्तमोऽध्यायः। ॐ अथ सप्तमोऽध्यायः। श्रीभगवानुवाच श्रीभगवानुवाच मय्यासक्तमनाः पार्थ मय्यासक्तमनाः पार्थ योगं युञ्जन्मदाश्रयः योगं युञ्जन्मदाश्रयः असंशयं समग्रं माम् असंशयं समग्रं माम् यथा ज्ञास्यसि तच्छृणु यथा ज्ञास्यसि तच्छृणु ज्ञानं तेऽहं सविज्ञानम् ज्ञानं तेऽहं सविज्ञानम् इदं वक्ष्याम्यशेषतः इदं वक्ष्याम्यशेषतः यज्ञात्वा नेह भूयोऽन्यत् यज्ञात्वा नेह भूयोऽन्यत् ज्ञातव्यम् अविशिष्यते ज्ञातव्यम् अविशिष्यते मनुष्याणां सहस्रेषु मनुष्याणां सहस्रेषु कश्चिद्यतति सिद्धये कश्चिद्यतति सिद्धये यततामपि सिद्धानां यततामपि सिद्धानां कश्चिन्मां वेत्ति तत्त्वतः कश्चिन्मां वेत्ति तत्त्वतः. So the first topic is going to be talked about here. Oh, small note. The title of this chapter is called Jnana Vijnana Yoga. And why it is called Jnana Vijnana Yoga, we will discuss in the second verse. So I'm not going to dwell upon it now, but just by way of information, it is called Jnana Vijnana Yoga. So Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, the Lord said, what did he say? Mayi asakta manaha, he Partha, Mayi asakta manaha, yogam yunjan madashrayah, asamshayam samagram maam yatha jnasyasi tat shrinu. What is the verb here? Shunu. Shunu means listen. Who is to listen now? The one who is to listen is Arjuna. Hey Partha, Shunu. Shunu means please listen. Listen to what I have to say. Obviously, please listen to what I have to say. And what is it that I have to say? Samagram. Samagram mam yatha jnasyasi. Samagram means all of me. Listen to all of me. How you will come to know all of me, not a little portion of me, not a little glimpse of Ishvara, not a little piece of Ishvara. Samagram means totally. How you will totally come to know me? Asamshayam. Asamshayam means without any doubt, without any vagueness, without any error. How you will come to know me? Tat Shrinu, please listen to this. You don't already know me. That's why the future tense is used. Oh Partha, oh Arjuna, you don't yet know me. You are going to know me. You are going to know me. And how you are going to know me? The method for going for the jiva to know Ishvara is described in three different ways. There is a threefold condition for wanting to know me, or the method by which you will know me comprises a threefold condition. So first is this Mayi asakta manaha. Mayi in me. Asakta, obsessed. Totally obsessed. Manaha. So Manaha means what? The one, Manaha doesn't mean mind here. It means the one with the mind, how shall we say it? The one who is endowed with the mind. The one who is endowed with the mind. What kind of mind? The mind that is totally committed to me. Mayi asakta manaha. So mayi eva asaktam manaha yasya saha. The mind which is totally obsessed with me. Asakti, great and urgent desire. So the one who is mentally clinging to me, wanting to know me, and then that is the first condition of knowing me. And what is the second condition? The second condition is called yogam yunjan. Yogam yunjan. Yunjan, connected to yoga. What yoga is this? We have had so many yogas. So many yogas, so little time. And what is this yoga being talked about? Sadhana. Connected to a committed sadhana, having a nishtha, a committed lifestyle dedicated to the pursuit of this knowledge. Mayi asakta manaha partha. So, the one who is clinging to me, wanting to know me, and the one who is preparing the mind in whatever way she or he can. Yogam Yunjan, engaged in preparing the mind, in calming the mind down, and reducing the influence of raga dvesha. And then what else? And then preparing the mind to stay focused and to be in one place rather than all over the place when the teaching is being given. When the teaching is being given, the teacher gives completely, but what makes it effective is what? My own focus. That is what is needed. My own single-minded focus. And if I don't have that, and it is very easy to say, oh, this is just a video, I don't need to focus, because it is just one sided. Nobody is seeing whether whether the student is looking at the teacher or not. Nobody can find out. The teacher cannot find out. And so therefore I won't pay attention, and this will be an unfortunate choice. Why? Because the loser is the student, not the teacher. As Acharya Swamiji once said, when the teacher teaches, and the teacher keeps teaching, teacher will get jnana nishtha. That's what. So it behooves one to be yogam yunjan, means engaged. So Arjuna, you who should be engaged. Engaged in what? The appropriate sadhanas. Vak, tapas, gaining shama, dama, uparati, titiksha, shraddha, samadhanam. And then what other things? Anything can be made into a yoga. Anything can be made into a means for preparing the heart to receive this knowledge. And then what else? Self-confidence, very important. We saw this in the 6th chapter. Saying I can get it, overcoming the depression, the pessimism, doing whatever it takes to come out of the doldrums, to think that I am no good and I won't get this knowledge. And then what else? Madashrayaha. Madashrayaha means whose only refuge is myself alone. Madashrayaha. Madashrayaha means ahameva ashrayaha yasya saha. Aham here is not I, okay? Ishvara. Ishvara is talking in the first person and saying, I am Madashrayaha. You become Madashrayaha. Meaning what? Ahameva ashrayaha yasya saha. You become the one for whom I alone am the ashraya. That is the thing. Ashraya means refuge. Taking refuge in me. Why? Because this yogam yunjan is obviously not enough. This calls for self-effort. Self-effort. You do what you have to do. You prepare the mind. You gain the guru. You show up for the knowledge. All the time knowing that it is me alone who is the ultimate source. That is making you resourceful. That source is me. And take refuge in me. Take refuge in my anugraha. And without taking refuge in me, you will not know my nature. So 3 conditions are given here. First is, be the one whose mind is clinging to me always. Number 1. Second, follow the practices that are needed to gain the disposition for a disposition that will not take this knowledge for granted, a disposition that will not dispose of this knowledge. Moksha. No. And be madashrayah. Let me be your refuge. Seek refuge in me, and then seeking refuge in me, take to this knowledge. And high order, very tall order. And if you do these 3 things, then I am there for you. Asamshayam. Doubtlessly, you will come to know me in my entirety. Para Prakriti, Apara Prakriti, as the chastiser, as the giver of karma phala, as this one, as that one, and primarily as the truth of your own nature. You will come to me. Yathajnasyasi, how you will come to me, how you will come to know me. Please listen. Very important verse. And I said the seventh chapter starts with a bang. Doesn't, there is no time to just, meander. The subject matter is a stark difference from all the other six chapters. Starts with the first person. Mayi asakta manaha. So, how to become Mai Asakta Manaha? Because right now, where it is, I am what? Asakta Manaha, all right. But then, Arthakama Sakta Manaha. I am, my clinging is not to Ishvara, but to Artha and Kama. How should I change this over? What to do? It is like this, see, a new desire always takes time to cultivate. The old desire is easy, but we forget that the old desire was also at one point new. You ask somebody, how did you become a coffee drinker? And they may have a story. No, actually, I was always a tea drinker. In my family, we always drank tea. Suddenly, one day, somebody, a friend, introduced me to coffee. In the beginning, I did not like it. The taste of coffee was a little offy for me. And then, after drinking it, I developed a liking for it. This is what happens. So, this is the first thing to remember, that any new desire to be initiated, there is a little bit of a discomfort zone. To get into the comfort zone takes a little bit of time. You cannot just suddenly you cannot just like something. You say, oh, why did I do this? I changed the job. Oh, I don't like the new job. 5 years later, you love that. That new job has become old job. And that is what it is with regard to all the institutions in life, marriage, children, etc. Everything. It takes time to get used to it. And so that is one thing we have to remember. Give oneself lot of time, lot of self-love, lot of patience to become Mayi Asakta Manaha, somebody who is Ishvara Sakta Manaha. And and so for that some time is required, because it is new. And secondly, it is compounded by the fact that the Ishvara that I am supposed to cling to is not there at all anywhere as an object. So am I clinging to an idea? Am I clinging to a concept? Am I clinging to a visualization? Am I clinging to an imagination? All this has to be sorted out. So that's another reason it takes time. Then the other thing is to understand, the other aspect of becoming Ishvara Sakta Manaha for a person is to understand that until one, usually a new desire replaces an old desire. This is something, this is just in the world of human affairs, we have noticed this. So if you give up something, it's better to have something else to lean on and to hang out with, because otherwise what happens is that you give up something and you have a longing for it. So here, to desire Bhagavan, to desire to be with Bhagavan, to desire to be Bhagavan, to desire to know Bhagavan, I have to graduate from being a Arthakama pursuer to a Jignasu, to a wanting to know. That does not come easily, even if I am convinced that this is the way to go. The Arthakama pursuits are very difficult to drop. So therefore, Madashrayah, seeking refuge in me, praying for them to drop. Somehow I drop a few things, a few preoccupations. What is the grandchild doing? What is the spouse doing? What is this one doing? Oh no, I can't leave this because I am indispensable. Without me, the Rotary Club will not run. Who said? When did you join? 4 days back. So before that the Rotary Club was not running. Yeah, but I am very efficient and the people have given me that compliment. and have given me a lot of portfolios. I have to do this, I have to do that. They gave lot of portfolios. Why? Because they were wanting to encourage you, perhaps. They were happy with you, they wanted to encourage you. And no problem. But from this, one cannot come into the conclusion that without me, the Rotary Club will not run. That's why it's called Rotary. It keeps rotating even without you. The whole Jagat will run, and it has been running. And so, so this to get that into the head takes some time. And so madashraya means, so when first I allow a few of these notions to drop, and it's very difficult to be in between notions that I was clinging to, and now nothing to hold on to. Oh my God, I'm afraid. And this way you seek the refuge of Bhagavan in so many words and say, I'm going to cling to you because you have made me drop everything else. Your knowledge is going to make me drop everything else. So when I drop something, I cling to something bigger, and that gives a feeling of safety. There is no fear in clinging to Bhagavan. Clinging to Bhagavan means what? Being aware of Bhagavan in all the transactions and desiring to know that Bhagavan. When that happens, so as I said, it's a step-by-step process. So first karma yoga, letting go of the fruits of the desire, dedicating everything to Ishvara and understanding that this Ishvara is to be known, and then developing the desire to know Ishvara gradually and naturally develops when I give up all the other pursuits. And when I give up the raga, dvesha based pursuits, then I cling on to Ishvara and it is safe. Even though there is a desire here, the desire to know Ishvara is the desire for your own self. So therefore it is a safe desire. It is not for a desire that is an object that is away from you. So then that is Mayi Asakta Manaha Yogam Yunjan, carrying on with my life, as my life itself, as I am leading it, I convert it into a sadhana. And then I dedicate the fruits thereof to you. Therefore, I become Twadashraya. I become completely one with you. Then I can talk of knowing of the nature of Bhagavan. So these three things must be kept in mind. So clinging to Bhagavan over and above all the other pursuits, and then engaging in whatever sadhanas are ready to prepare the mind to know the nature of Bhagavan, and then taking the help of Bhagavan in the form of blessings, anugraha, prayers, etc., to be able to know Bhagavan. Second one, then the Lord promises, Aham, I, te, unto you, jnanam, savijnanam. So I will teach you jnanam, whatever is meant by that, along with sa here means along with vijnanam, whatever that means, we'll see quickly, we'll see shortly. Idam vakshyami, and I will teach it. How will I teach it? I am a great teacher, Arjuna. Asheshatah. You will not know that anything is left out. Without remainder, without residue, without shesha. Shesha, residue, ashesha, that which is without residue. So this knowledge I will teach you without keeping anything back. Unlike what? Music teachers, dance teachers, etc. Generally, cooking gurus, music gurus, dance gurus, they get worried if a student is excelling in the raga, excelling in the dance form. And so they keep a few tips to themselves because they are also performing. They're also actively there and they have a name, they have carved out a name for themselves. So they will keep a few things because they don't want to lose their position and they don't want the student to outshine them. But here there is no such thing, because what is the shiniest thing? Bhagavan. So who are you? Bhagavan. So therefore it is not possible to outshine Bhagavan. And Bhagavan does not need fame. Bhagavan is already famous. Google the word Bhagavan and see how many hits it will get. So then that will be your proof as to how famous Bhagavan is. And so Bhagavan is very, very famous. Bhagavan is not interested in trying to keep some things for himself, herself, and neither is Bhagavan worried about being displaced by the Jiva, because Jiva is what? Bhagavan. So then he says, I'm going to give this to you asheshataha, without anything remaining. Yat jnatva, knowing which what? Jnanam and vijnanam. Knowing which jnanam and vijnanam, neha, na iha, not here, bhuyaha, again, anyat vartate. So nothing else remains here. Bhuyaha means then again, nothing else remains. What is this nothing else that remains? Nothing remains to know, jnatavyam. Nothing remains to be known. Avashishyate remains. Knowing this jnanam and avijnanam, jnanam and vijnanam, there is nothing else that remains to be known. And I will teach you jnanam and vijnanam totally and completely. Why? Because I'm the best teacher in the whole world, says Lord Krishna. I'm the best teacher in the whole world, therefore I will teach this completely. So then I'm going to teach you this completely, and knowing which you will not really need to know anything else, nor also there will be anything for you to know. What is there to know? Nothing is there to know, because I have taught this to you completely. So this is the second verse. Only two words are left. What is that? Jnanam and vijnanam. The meanings are identical. Both mean knowledge. But when they are used together, jnanam is the knowledge of the self. Vijnanam is the knowledge of the self that is extremely well ascertained, extremely well assimilated knowledge is called vijnanam. Of what? Of Ishvara as oneself. Of course, what other kind of knowledge is there? We should know this by now. And so this is the difference between jnanam and vijnanam. So vijnanam means the ascertainment of this jnanam as a something that one already has, as something that one has owned up. So owning up of this knowledge, in all the ways that we have talked about, is called vijnanam. So when I completely impart to you the jnana and vijnana in the form of knowledge, nothing remains to be taught. Then there is also another meaning of the word jnanam and vijnanam, especially as it pertains to Bhagavan. So we can take jnanam as sagunam Brahma, meaning the Ishvara endowed with attributes, meaning Ishvara endowed with the Jagat. Because only when the Jagat comes, the causality comes. Ishvara as the cause comes when? When the Jagat comes. Otherwise, there is no Ishvara, there is no causality, there is nothing. And so this in relation to the Jagat, this Ishvara this Ishvara is called Sagunam Brahma. Sagunam Brahma means what? Here it is called Jnanam. All the attributes, Karta, Bhokta, Samharta, Karta, Harta, and then the one who sustains, Dharta, Karta, Dharta, Samharta, the one who brings about this Jagat, the one who takes care of it, and unto whom, in whom the Jagat resolves. This is called Jnanam. with a specific technical meaning. Okay, don't, that is not jnanam everywhere else. Only in this particular verse and in this particular chapter, by extension, are we going to see this particular definition. And so in the Bhagavad Gita, this specific way of looking at it is given for easy assimilation. So then, this is jnanam. And then what is vijnanam? The essential nature of Ishvara as Satchidananda, which obtains in my heart as Sakshi. The essential nature of me is also Satchidananda, and so that essential nature is the unfoldment of that essential nature is called Vijnanam. So I will give you my changing nature in the form I am nothing other than what is found in the Jagat. Nothing is separate from me, but I am separate from all of them. A topic again that is going to be revised in chapter 9, at the beginning of chapter 9. And so here everything is me alone, and that me has two components, as it were. Well, of course, it is partless, but for the sake of just assimilating it and understanding it, the Shastra has divided Ishvara into two components. What are they? First component is the essential nature, which is Satchidananda, which is called Paraprakriti, which is called Vijnanam. And the other one is the Apara Prakriti, a nature that keeps appearing to change. Bhagavan, that which is non-separate from Bhagavan, is this Jagat. So the Jagat in the form of Bhagavan keeps changing, and Bhagavan in the form of the one who is the cause who has caused this Jagat, and that is a specific relationship. And so this is Jnanam and Vijnanam. So, Vijnanam is the knowledge of non-duality, and Jnanam is the knowledge of duality between myself and Ishvara. Jnanam is actually here various modes of worship. Vijnanam is knowledge of oneself as Chaitanya Swarupa, and knowledge of Ishvara also as Chaitanya Swarupa. Further, third one. Let me share the thing here. मनुष्याणां सहस्रेषु कश्चिद्यतति सिद्धये यततामपि सिद्धानां कश्चिन्मां वेत्ति तत्त्वतः Manushyanam sahasreshu, among the thousands of human beings, kaschit, one, yatati, one of them is striving for moksha. Siddhi means ultimate siddhi, nothing else is remaining. So then ultimate success is moksha. And then, so these first two lines, among thousands of people, one is striving for moksha, kaschit, one person, and out of the few striving for moksha, only one comes to know me fully. This is not supposed to be a verse that makes one depressed. Oh, I am under depression. I already told you, there is no reason to pursue this knowledge. Why? Because who is going to get moksha? I already said, at that time you shut me up. You said, no, you should go for moksha. But look, even Bhagavan himself is admitting, out of the thousands of people who look for me, yatati, means who make the effort. For what? They don't even know there is moksha. They just keep treading the water, they keep making an effort, and they want something permanent, but they don't know that they are the one who is already permanent. That they don't know. So out of all the people who in the world, thousands and thousands of people, one looks for moksha, the permanent, and then one of them comes to me. And then out of all the people who are looking for the permanent, only one gets it in the form of Atmajnanam, knowledge. So, more we'll see in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you.